There are certain things in Warzone that not a lot of mouse and keyboard players are utilizing, including one extremely broken movement and aim technique requiring a super specific weapon attachment to achieve. Do you know what this attachment could be? But before we get into that, we should start at the basics, which is your sensitivity. Sensitivity might be one of the most unique things when it comes to gaming. Many content creators who are known for their amazing aim always get asked the dreaded question, Sens? But little do the people asking this question know that copying an aim god like Shroud's Sens will not give you aim like Shroud. No f***ing shit. If you're new to mouse and keyboard, I implore you to find your own sensitivity. You're going to start by choosing your DPI, and then your in-game sense, followed by your ADS sensitivity. So let's start at DPI. DPI stands for dots per inch. In a nutshell, this just means the sensitivity of your mouse, like the physical mouse. DPI indicates how far your cursor moves on screen for every inch your mouse moves. The most common DPI sensitivity is either 800, 1600, and in some cases 3200. The higher the number, the faster your sense will be. I recommend either 800 or 1600. I personally play on 1600 because it's not too fast nor too slow. Now that you've chosen your DPI, it's time to add another factor to your sensitivity, this being your in-game sensitivity. Think of your in-game sense multiplying your DPI. You can have it as low as 0.01, which would ultimately give you a sense slower than the speed of your DPI, or you can jack it up and multiply your DPI like crazy. What you should do to find your perfect sense is experiment. Hop into a custom match and play against bots, raising and lowering your sensitivity to find the perfect match. While you're doing this, keep in mind how much your arm or wrist is moving on your desk. You want your movements to be as comfortable as possible. If you enjoy moving your arm a great distance to do a full 360, then you are a low sense player. If you like only moving your wrist to do a full 360, then you are a high sense player. Me personally, my sensitivity is 1600 DPI, 3.2 in-game, or 27 centimeters. 27 centimeters means I move my mouse 27 centimeters to do a full 360 in-game. Lastly, before we move on, in-game we have ADS sensitivity. Keep this at 1 if you want all of your senses per optic to be the same. Me personally, I like my sense slightly slower as my zoom increases, so this is what mine looks like. You could even make it faster per zoom, but I don't see too many players doing that. You might be asking yourself what type of sense is better, slow, medium, or fast. Well, to be honest, there isn't a superior sense. Slow sensitivity will give you more room for error while making micro adjustments, however, you will have to move your arm a lot more than someone on medium to fast sense. And someone on fast sense will have to be extra careful with micro adjustments while aiming, however, their aim will be faster and snappier. A lot of people who play games like CSGO or Valorant play on lower sensitivity since you need really good precision, whereas for games like Warzone, people tend to play on a quicker sense. When you're in a fight, sometimes you're looking up, down, left, right in a fast succession, so if your reaction and aim is too slow, it could be your demise. For Warzone, I would probably recommend players to not make their sensitivity too low. But again, at the end of the day, this is all preference. If you're still watching this video, then that means you must suck at mouse and keyboard, or you're new to mouse and key. Or maybe your aim and keybinds are on lock, but you just don't know of the in-game techniques to break aim assist. But don't worry, I got you. Because if you couldn't tell already, this video is super in-depth and has everything you need to know to play mouse and keyboard on Warzone. We just went over your sensitivity. Now let's get into good mouse and keyboard habits. Let's go over how to hold your mouse. Yes, you just heard me correctly. And no, I'm not trolling you. There are tons of different ways and combinations to hold a mouse. Firstly, you have claw, palm, and fingertip to name the most common grips. Then on top of that, you can hold a mouse with a 1-2-2 or a 1-3-1 finger placement. Choosing claw, palm, or fingertip grip is all preference. Personally, I play on claw so I can use my thumb and fingers to make micro adjustments while aiming. Palm grip looks like this, and in my opinion, isn't the best since you can't rely on your fingers for micro adjustments. And lastly, fingertip looks like this. Some really good aimers use fingertip grip. Me personally, I feel most comfortable when I have more of my hand placed on the mouse. I place my fingers on the mouse in a 1-2-2 opposed to a 1-3-1. 1-3-1 makes it harder to aim. However, it gives you the ability to use the scroll wheel while aiming and shooting your gun. This finger placement is popular in Apex Legends among movement players. But fuck Apex, we're talking about COD, and COD really doesn't require you to have a grip like this. Only use it if it's absolutely comfortable. Remember that question I asked you at the beginning of the video? About the specific weapon attachment that breaks aim assist? Oh, you still don't know the answer? Well, I can give you a hint. It's a laser. But we'll get to that in a bit. For right now, let's talk about peripherals. Contrary to popular belief, peripherals might be the least important thing when it comes to becoming a decent mouse and keyboard player. As long as your peripherals don't include a Temu mouse and a piece of cardboard as your mousepad, you should be chilling. And a heads up before we get into this part of the video, I'm not sponsored by any of these companies, nor will I persuade you to purchase any of the products that I use. There are tons and tons of good mouse and keyboard products out there, products that I don't even own, so I encourage you to do your own research and buy the best product to suit your needs. There are so many different mice out there. Some are small for you and your little T-Rex hands, and others are larger for people like me who aren't a bitch. I'm gonna go over this very quickly. If you use a palm grip, you might want a larger mouse like the Logitech G502 or the G Pro Superlight. Claw grip can utilize larger or smaller mice. It's kind of just dependent on the size of your hand or what you're most comfortable with. Razer Viper V3 Pro, G Pro Superlight, Final Mouse, or Pulsar mice are a good medium ground. Lastly, you have fingertip grip that usually utilize smaller mice like the Final Mouse, WL Mouse Beast, and even custom modded mice like this one. This shit is for the real mice enthusiasts. Okay, now that mice are out of the way, we have mouse pads. I do not recommend going on Amazon and buying a cheap mouse pad with your favorite anime character on it. These are shit. BenQ makes a decent cheap mouse pad, same with HyperX, Logitech, GameSense, you get the deal. If you have the money to spend on something more expensive, I recommend an artisan mouse pad or a glass pad. And just like mice having different shapes to fit your needs, mouse pads have different levels of smoothness to offer a mouse glide that you're most comfortable with. For mouse and keyboard beginners, I do recommend using a cloth pad over a glass pad because a cloth pad will offer more control and stability. Next are keyboards. There are a bunch of different sizes, like the 60%, 65%, 75%, 10 keyless, and full-sized. For gaming, the smaller size keyboards tend to be the most popular. You know what else is popular? Hall effect switches. These switches come in keyboards like the Wooting, Arbiter, Keychron, etc. These keyboards basically let you press a key without having to press the key fully down for it to actuate. Some also come with a rapid fire feature that basically just lets you press a key in a faster succession. A keyboard like this will run you over $100, so if this isn't in your budget, don't sweat. A normal mechanical keyboard will suffice. Lastly, I just want to glide over mouse skates very briefly. Buy dots for glass pads. For cloth pads, use either PTFE skates. PTFE is the type of plastic. A really good company for PTFE skates would be Tiger Ice. Or if you want a lot of glide on a cloth pad, you can get glass skates for your mouse. Just don't ever use glass skates on a glass pad. Never ever. Do not freaking do it. Alright guys, so we just talked about peripherals. Now let's hop into my settings and most importantly, just my keybinds. Alright, so circling back, my sensitivity is 3.2. I run 1600 DPI. And this is 27 centimeters in game. I do use custom sensitivities per zoom. This is what they are. My ADS sensitivity transition timing is instant. My sensitivity wasn't feeling good one day. Someone came into my stream and was like, yo, relatives bugged, try Legacy. I tried Legacy. I had to switch all of my sensitivities because it's different, I guess. And I'm not going to switch off of Legacy. It is what it is. We're stuck on Legacy now. So yeah, I use Legacy. Mouse calibration. You don't want to be using Mouse Excel. I don't know what the hell mouse filtering is. Don't use it. Mouse smoothing, turn that shit off. Mouse wheel delay, this is all up to you. If you switch weapons with your mouse wheel and you don't want it too sensitive, then, bump this number up. I run a 120 FOV. I like having as much FOV as possible. Before we go into keybinds, I just want to show you guys my resolution. Yes, I do play stretched res. This is a very frequently asked question. My resolution is 1728 by 1080. I'm not going to show you guys how to get that resolution right now. If you guys do want me to make a separate video for this, then drop a comment. Let me know that you want to see this video. And also drop a like. Maybe share it with a homie. Who knows? Help a boy out. Help a boy out. All right, so let's get into keybinds. So WSAD, obviously just regular stuff. Auto move forward is H. I don't really use this. Jump. Spacebar. I also have another keybind as scroll wheel down. I've always used scroll wheel down for jump in almost every single video game that I've played, even though you can't bunny hop in Warzone. Force of habit, I still use it in some scenarios. My prone and dive is control. I have a crouch and slide bind on my mouse button. This is a hold to crouch and slide, not toggle, and I'll explain why it's hold later into the video. Sprint, shift. Now, when we go into movement advanced keybinds, this is the most important keybind that we're going to talk about, which is the slide keybind. You're going to want to bind the slide keybind. I have mine on C, fire weapon, regular, aim down sight, regular, reload, R, regular. Next weapon, I have Q and 3. Weapon mount is N. I don't use this at all. Melee, G. I usually have melee on my side mouse button, but that button is for ping because it's a really useful place, in my opinion, to have your ping button. And then I know a lot of people have ping on their scroll wheel, like when you press your scroll wheel in. Mine is actually my lethal. My tactical's on F, my field upgrade's on X, armor plate on 4, interact on E. Pretty regular shit. I got my change zoom on caps lock. Usually this would be on my sprint button, which is shift. Yeah, I just kept messing with my scopes and it was pissing me off. And I was like, dude, I need to change this. So it's on caps lock now. Oh, this is a good one too. Melee weapon. Having a dedicated button for your melee weapon is always really important. Mine's on 2 because what's cool about having it on 2 is that I don't have to like lift a finger to press 2. I can W key and all I have to do is just shift my hand up forward and use the front of my nail to kind of like press the corner of 2 while I'm holding down W, and I'm able to press my melee button that way. And I think that's a super useful tip. Ping, mouse 5. I think this is a good spot to have it as. Sprint assist off, mantle assist off, crouch assist off, corner slice. You can have this on or off. I like it on. Some people like it off. It's up to you, dog. Crouch behavior's on hold. We'll get into that in the next segment. ADS behavior, got that on hold. If you use toggle, what are you doing? Don't know what any of this really is. I don't think I've ever been in here before in my life. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Now let's get into probably the most anticipated part of this video, and that's the mouse and keyboard techniques that you can use in-game. So first we're going to start with that question that I asked you guys at the beginning of the video. If you answered the Strelok laser, then you're correct. So this is an LC10 build that I have. I use vertical foregrip, extended mag 2, CQB grip, balance stock, and Strelok laser. This is roughly the same loadout that I use for almost all my SMGs. The most important thing is going to be the CQB grip and the Strelok laser. You want the CQB grip because you want a slower ADS speed to do this trick. So in Call of Duty, your hipfire movement is faster than your ADS movement. But with the Strelok laser, you can spam ADS and get the hipfire strafe speed while also keeping a near perfect bullet spray. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to strafe left and right, and then you're going to want to incorporate crouch spams for extra added movement, and then an ADS spam. Now you pair all this together and shoot your gun. It's a really good trick to utilize when you're entering a gunfight or even if you're caught off guard. You can enter the fight doing the Strelok spam and then end with your gun ADS like this. And this is why I use hold to crouch, because basically what I'm doing is I'm spamming my side mouse button while I'm doing this. I would say this trick is super situational because if you're holding someone, you don't want to do this since the TTK would be faster if you're just ADS'd on someone. But if you're in a very awkward gunfight, busting this trick out will definitely throw your opponent off guard. Smokes are extremely important for mouse and keyboard players, especially since controller players can't get aim assist in the smoke. You can smoke off your close range fights and fight in the smoke or throw a smoke at an enemy to momentarily disrupt their aim. Using smokes is also really good when paired with tracker. On some parts of the map, there are these railings that disrupt aim assist for controller players. Use this to your advantage. Using the independent slide button I showed you earlier lets you skate and hit a double slide. This is a useful tool to throw enemy snipers off. Jeez, I just skated on that guy. I understand that controller is the strongest input on Warzone, but if this video inspired you guys to try out mouse and keyboard, then best of luck to you. I really hope these tips helped. Everything that I taught and showed you is easy to master, except maybe the Strelok technique that I showed you, just because there's a lot of factors and multitasking that goes into it. But besides that, if you guys enjoyed the video, then drop a like. Maybe let me know your favorite part down in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.